the winds, obey me.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Art of Save Scumming. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about Sayl the Faithless, the new legendary lord for Norsca, coming alongside Tides of Torment. In just a couple days you guys have access to that, and I want to prepare you for what you're going to open it up for and what you're going to be looking at. So Sayl starts over here. He starts at war with a minor Norscan faction, which if you start at war with a minor Norscan faction as Norsca, of course you can confederate the entire province if you play your cards right and battle that faction leader. You can absolutely do that if you do it right and not have to destroy the local infrastructure. He's a little bit cramped up here in the northern Chaos Waste, right above Cathay. He's got his own new four-settlement province here, but expansion capabilities, unless you want to go to war with Zatan, which I've done in a separate campaign, then you basically can get all this territory and then march south into Cathay. Those are kind of your options. So play it how you want to play it. He has access to all the same mechanics as the other Norscan lords, but with small tweaks. So I have a dedicated video for the Norscan rework. If you want to go watch that, I'll have it listed in the relevant places. If you don't know what's coming in the Norscan rework, then you might be a little bit lost in what I'm going to say here in a minute. So you may fill yourself in with that one or watch somebody else's video to fill you in. But we have two resources in this campaign, spoils and money, same as the rest of the Norscan lords. And our bar for our chaos altars looks a little bit different. Usually you've got 4 individual bars that denote the alignment to the various chaos gods, or what the Norscans identify the chaos gods as. Well, Sayl's a 100% undivided character, so all of his stuff dumps into that bar. And if we go into his chaos altar recruitment, you can see that instead of having the patron god touched units, he has undivided units. So he's got all 3 types of undivided chaos warriors and undivided spawn, which makes sense, right? So those are the changes to the altar recruitment. And then up here, all of the altars dump into this one bar. So this is, 4 altars, these benefits, 10 altars, these benefits, 18, these benefits, and then the dark ritual up here, final battle and all that sort of stuff, right? He still has access to the monstrous arcanum. He still has the new, wrong button. The upgraded new tech tree and all that sort of stuff, right? If you want to see this, I'll go through and do one like I did with the High Elves, I suppose. I'm going to be working on a Slaanesh one here pretty soon for you guys as well. Not a super popular video, but it was a really easy one to make, so we'll probably do that. And then his special mechanic, well, actually, before we get to that, he has the same, I suppose, what are these called? Commandments, I suppose. And then the dictats, he has an extra dictat for his provinces. So there's that. But his individual mechanic is the manipulations. So if we go in here, there's a bunch of tiers of manipulations. I've used this one, for instance. It grants visibility over the target, or excuse me, no, that one's the instant spoils, and income from enemy buildings is reduced, and a random rare magic item. It's pretty useful. But you got other choices here, and I'll just go ahead and burn through these really quick for you guys so you guys can see what's available in here if you want to plan your campaign out. But basically, the way this works is, as you get further along in your Chaos Altars, these unlock. There is no resource that is required to use these. You can use as many of these as you want. The downside is that as you use these, this bar fills up. And you get the attention of the gods. Some of the attention of the gods is positive, some of it is negative. You're going to get a series of dilemmas as these things stack up. So if I were to use all of these all at once, then this bar would fill up, and I don't think that I can actually use them all at once, but I've never actually done that.
Ritual that may help.
That sort of seems like a dumb thing to do. And let's fill the bar here. And you can see here that an army of Norscans worshipping the crow will appear, seeking Sayl. The crow spreads its wings. So, Nurgle corruption. All factions' armies receive 10% damage. And then 25% for an army of Norscans worshipping the crow will appear, and your growth is down. You see what's going on here. So you get these dilemmas if you go over. Let's go ahead and reload here. So those negative benefits will stack up. Some of them will be positive as well. But as you move along this bar, there are some stops. You can see that there's one there, and there's one there, and then it can be all the way full. But this counter right here is the drop counter. So if I were to cross this up to here, then it's going to come down to the next stop. So if I fill this bar all the way up, then it's going to come back to here. And that's how the mechanic keeps from constantly crushing you, I suppose. But you also can use that in the early stages to not completely destroy your own faction with deleterious effects by just waiting for this to drop. So all of this progress right here, anything that I got in here, in 2 turns will go away, because it'll reset the bar all the way down to the next stop, or the previous stop, which in this case would be 0. In the past, it's been very, new resource to operate the new mechanic. This one is just kind of an add-on to all the stuff that everybody else in Norsca does. So I can't render a review at this time, but I think that's going to play a little bit different, or at least in my perspective, it plays a little bit different than some of the other DLCs that we've seen in the past. Because realistically speaking, you could go full hard mode on this campaign if you wanted to. You could capture your first province and then convert all of this into Chaos Altars if you wanted to, max out this bar, go in here and just start dumping effects all over the map, with respect to the cooldowns. But you could completely max this out and just deleterious effects through the roof on your campaign. There's nothing really stopping you from doing that if you want to do that, which is a little bit different than the system of, well, we got a new resource and the new resource has to be accrued to be able to use the mechanic. This doesn't hold your hand at all. And then into Sayl himself, he is a spellcaster lord. So looking at his individual skill tree here, we've got standard red, or standard blue, standard red, and his casting line is a combined high and shadows. He doesn't get the direct damage spell, but he does get both lore passives. He has 3 what I would call first level spells. So he gets the Wind Blast, he gets the Pendulum, and he gets the Thunderbolt. And then up here, he only gets Chain Lightning and Magical Reserves and Arcane Conduit, obviously. And then his top line, he gets the War Mammoth and, Chariot and Warhorse, of course. Perfect Vigor for your For your Kurgans, he also gets barrier hit points, perfect vigor, and melee attack for monstrous arcanum units, and some stuff for the Ettins, as well as immune to psychology for the Lord's Army and corruption. And then he also gets this individual line here, which is very heavily on sorcery. So Winds of Magic Power, reserve capacity, spell resistance, regeneration, ward save, more uses of the Night Maw, weapon strength for the Lord's Army, spell resistance for the Lord's Army, magical attacks for the Lord's Army. We got some more Winds of Magic stuff, some capacity for those Shaman Sorcerers, upkeep reduction, campaign movement range leadership, more uses of the Night Maw, as well as overall cost for all of your spells down. So he's a pretty powerful spellcaster. Interesting choice of lines for him, but there's definitely some utility in here, I think. And I think that as far as Sayl is concerned, my experience with him on the battlefield is that he is not the greatest melee combatant on foot or on a warhorse or anything like that. But once he gets on his mammoth, he kind of comes into his own. Think Wulfric, like he's an all right melee combatant, reasonably high armor, but he's a support character. So he can be up there doing some stuff, but really he's there to do a whole lot of spell casting. Now his other stuff that he's got going on here is spell intensity, miscast base chance, and enables poison attacks for the Kurgan horsemen. He also, it's not revealed here, but his faction effects also drastically impact the ability of your Kurgans to do mass damage. So anyway, that is my look at Sayl the Faithless coming in Tides of Torment. If you guys have anything specific that you would like me to dig into in more detail, then sound off in the comment section down below, and we'll see you on another video here at the Art of Save Scumming.